Have you ever wondered what secrets really lurk behind the closed doors of reality TV's most explosive couples? Well, brace yourselves because tonight, we're pulling back the velvet curtain on a pact so shocking, so unpredictable, that even the most devoted fans of Jim Jones and Chrissy Lampkin are left speechless. It's the kind of drama you only see in movies, a secret agreement, hidden for years, that now threatens to tear apart not just a relationship, but an entire family legacy. As whispers spread through Harlem and fans light up social media with theories and wild accusations, one burning question echoes everywhere. What did Chrissy and Jim Jones promise each other? And why has it stayed hidden until now? Sources close to the couple say the pact was inked in the middle of the night, far from the cameras, away from the glitz, where real emotions simmered and ultimatums were set. Was this pact the glue that held them together through all the scandals? Or the ticking time bomb that's finally set to explode? Tonight, for the first time ever, we unravel the twisted tale behind Chrissy's secret pact with Jim Jones exposed. Trust us, fans never saw this coming. Stay tuned, because the truth is messier than anyone ever imagined. As the clock struck midnight on a humid New York evening, a storm was brewing in the hearts of two of reality TV's most talked about figures. Chrissy Lampkin sat by her bedroom window, her silhouette framed by the soft city lights outside. She was lost in thought, replaying the day's events over and over in her mind. Somewhere in the apartment, Jim Jones paced the living room, his phone lighting up with messages from friends, family, and most troubling fans who were picking up on the tension they thought they saw in his latest Instagram story. It wasn't supposed to be like this, Chrissy thought, clutching her glass of red wine, her fingers trembling ever so slightly. For years, she and Jim had been the couple that could survive anything: sheeting rumors, business fallouts, family drama, even the prying eyes of reality television. But tonight, something felt different. Something felt final. Outside, the city was alive with noise, but inside, an eerie silence pressed in, broken only by the muffled vibration of Jim's phone. Earlier that day, Chrissy had received a message that would change everything. It was a simple text from a blocked number. "I know about the pact. Does Jim?" The words stared back at her, burning a hole in her screen. She tried to ignore it, telling herself it was just another internet troll, but her heart raced. Who could possibly know? As much as she wanted to believe, it was nothing. Chrissy couldn't shake the feeling of dread settling in her stomach. Jim, meanwhile, was battling his own demons. He was used to the noise, the rumors, the constant pressure to be the tough guy who could handle anything. But this was different. Tonight, Chrissy seemed distant, her eyes guarded, her laughter forced. Every attempt at conversation was met with a half-hearted smile or a distracted nod. It was as if she was hiding something, and for once, he didn't know what it was. As the night dragged on, the tension in their apartment reached a fever pitch. Finally, unable to take it any longer, Jim stormed into the bedroom. "Chrissy, what's going on?" His voice was softer than usual, almost pleading. "Don't tell me nothing's wrong. You've been off all day." Chrissy hesitated, her eyes darting to the phone on the nightstand. She considered lying, but something in Jim's face, maybe the vulnerability he rarely let show, made her reconsider. She took a deep breath, set down her wine, and met his gaze. "I got a message," she began, her voice barely above a whisper. "Someone knows about the pact." For a moment, Jim looked confused. Then, realization dawned on him. His jaw clenched, his shoulders tensed. "Who? How?" he demanded, his voice rising. "I don't know," Chrissy replied, her own voice trembling. "But they're threatening to tell everyone." "Jim, if this gets out," he cut her off, running his hands over his face in frustration. "So what? Let them talk. We've survived worse, Chrissy. You know that." But Chrissy shook her head, her eyes filling with tears. "This isn't like before, Jim. This is different. People find out, it could ruin everything. Your career, my reputation, even our family. We promised we'd never let this come between us, but now the room fell silent. The weight of their secret pressing down on them both. Outside, a siren wailed in the distance, a fitting soundtrack to the chaos inside their home. Jim dropped onto the edge of the bed, staring at his hands. For once, he had no words. Meanwhile, outside the apartment, word was already starting to spread. Fans who had always sensed something off about Jim and Chrissy's relationship began to speculate online. Twitter was ablaze with theories, some wild, some scarily accurate. Did Chrissy have a hidden agenda? Was Jim hiding something from his mother, Nancy? What exactly was this pact that had suddenly become the hottest topic on social media? Nancy, Jim's mother, better known as Mama Jones, picked up on the tension immediately. She'd seen enough drama in her life to know when something big was about to break. Dialing Jim's number, she barely waited for him to answer before launching into her questions. "Boy, what's going on over there? Can feel it in my bones when something's not right." "You and Chrissy fighting again?" Jim tried to brush her off, but Mama Jones was relentless. "Don't you lie to me, Jimmy. I saw that look on Chrissy's face at dinner, and I heard the way you snapped at her. Talk to me, before the whole world knows your business." Chrissy, overhearing the conversation, felt her heart pounding in her chest. She knew Mama Jones was right once. Their family started asking questions. It wouldn't be long before the tabloids caught on. But how could she explain the pact, something so personal and so complicated, to anyone else? As the night wore on, the apartment seemed to shrink around them. Every corner held a memory. Every glance was loaded with unspoken accusations. Finally, unable to take the pressure, Chrissy grabbed her phone and retreated to the bathroom, locking the door behind her. She scrolled through her messages, looking for clues, desperate for a way out. But the only thing she found was another message from the blocked number. "TikTok, Chrissy. Secrets don't stay buried forever." The words sent a chill down her spine. Was someone watching them? Had someone been following her, listening to their private conversations? The thought was almost too much to bear. Chrissy pressed her forehead to the cool bathroom mirror, her breath coming in short. Shallow gasps. Suddenly, her phone buzzed again, a new message. This time, a photo. Chrissy's hands shook as she opened it. It was a grainy image, but there was no mistaking what it showed. Her and Jim sitting together in a dimly lit restaurant the night they made the pact. The caption read, "Everyone has a price." Outside, Jim was growing more anxious by the minute. He knocked on the bathroom door, his voice low but urgent. "Chrissy, open up. We need to talk." "You can't just run away from this." Chrissy wiped her tears and opened the door. "Jim, someone's threatening us. They have photos. They know everything." Jim took her by the shoulders, forcing her to meet his eyes. "Then we fight back. Together, like we always do." But even as he said it, Chrissy could see the fear in his eyes. This was different. This was bigger than anything they'd ever faced. The night dragged on, with both of them jumping at every sound, every shadow. As dawn crept in through the blinds, Jim and Chrissy sat side by side on the edge of the bed, hands clasped tightly together. They knew their lives were about to change forever. But what neither of them knew was that outside their apartment, a figure was watching and waiting for the perfect moment to make their move. And as the sun rose over New York City, the first headline hit the blogs: "Secret Pact Threatens to Destroy." Jim Jones and Chrissy Lampkin's relationship, fans demand answers. The story was out. And nothing would ever be the same. As the headlines exploded across every gossip blog and social media platform, the world seemed to close in on Jim and Chrissy. Twitter threads unraveled wild theories by the minute. Instagram comments flooded their most recent posts, and even casual fans suddenly turned into internet detectives. There were whispers in Harlem's barbershops, hurried phone calls between mutual friends, and a storm of text messages that neither Jim nor Chrissy could keep up with. The most loyal supporters clung to hope, insisting it was all a misunderstanding. But deep down, everyone knew this scandal was different. The word Pact echoed in every conversation, as if it was some forbidden spell that had finally been spoken aloud. Inside their apartment, the tension became unbearable. Jim stalked from room to room, pacing like a caged animal. He slammed cupboard doors, checked his phone for the 100th time, and snapped at the television when it dared mention his name. Chrissy, meanwhile, scrolled through comment after comment, each more vicious than the last. She wanted to shut the world out, but the noise had become deafening. The line between their public personas and private reality blurred until it was impossible to know where one ended and the other began. Jim single quotes as phone rang again, this time showing an unknown number. For a moment, he hesitated. Then, steeling himself, he answered. "Jim Jones speaking," he said, trying to sound unfazed. The voice on the other end was cold, almost robotic. "If you want this to go away, you know what you have to do. Meet me tonight, alone." Before Jim could respond, the caller hung up. He stared at the phone, his mind racing. Who could it be? What did they want? And why was he suddenly feeling like a pawn in someone else's game? Chrissy watched him from across the room, her anxiety mounting. "Who was that?" she asked, her voice trembling. "Just some clown," Jim lied, forcing a smirk. "It's probably someone trying to cash in on the drama." But Chrissy wasn't convinced. She knew Jim better than anyone, and the way his hands shook told her everything she needed to know. "Don't do anything stupid, Jim," she pleaded. "Whatever this is, we handle it together." Jim nodded, but the wheels were already turning in his head. He couldn't just sit back and let their lives unravel. He had to take action, too, protect Chrissy and their family, even if it meant putting himself at risk. As evening approached, Mama Jones showed up unannounced, her energy filling the apartment like a whirlwind. "I knew something was up," she declared, her eyes darting between Jim and Chrissy. "The blogs are going crazy. People are calling me all day. You two better start talking before someone else tells your story." Chrissy sighed, exhaustion written all over her face. "Mama Jones, it's complicated. It's always complicated with you two," Mama Jones replied, her voice softening. "But your family. Families stick together no matter what." For a moment, there was silence. Then Jim finally spoke, his voice barely audible. "We made a pact, Mama, years ago. Supposed to be our secret, something just between us." Mama Jones arched an eyebrow, curiosity piqued. "What kind of pact?" Chrissy looked down, twisting her ring nervously. "A promise that no matter what happened, cheating, money, outside drama, we'd always have each other's backs, even if it meant lying to everyone else." But now someone's threatening to expose it. They have proof, photos, messages, everything. Mama Jones's face softened with understanding, but her eyes flashed with a hint of fear. "Baby, secrets like that don't stay hidden forever. Sooner or later, they always come out." The apartment felt heavier with every word. Chrissy glanced at Jim, searching for reassurance, but found only worry. Outside, the city seemed to pulse with anticipation, as if everyone was waiting for their next move. As dusk fell, Jim made up his mind. He slipped out of the apartment, telling Chrissy he just needed some air. In reality, he was heading to the address texted by the mysterious caller. Every step he took felt like walking deeper into a trap, but he couldn't back down, not now. The meeting spot was an abandoned building on the outskirts of Harlem, its windows shattered and graffiti covering the walls. Jim's heart pounded as he pushed open the creaking door, the city's noise fading behind him. Inside, the shadows seemed to close in, every corner hiding a potential threat. A figure stepped out from the darkness, face obscured by a hood. "You're late?" the voice said. The same cold tone from the phone call. Jim squared his shoulders, refusing to show fear. "What do you want?" The figure pulled out a folder thick with papers and photographs. "It's simple. Pay up or this goes. Everywhere. I'm not just talking blogs, I mean TV, radio, your mother's church group. Everyone. Jim clenched his fists. You think you can blackmail me? I've dealt with worse, the figure laughed, the sound echoing in the empty building. This isn't about money, Jim. It's about power. It's about watching you squirm. Before Jim could react, the figure tossed the folder onto the ground and melted back into the shadows, leaving Jim alone with 1,000 questions and a growing sense of dread back at the apartment. Chrissy paced anxiously, checking her phone every few seconds. Mama Jones tried to comfort her, but even she couldn't hide her worry. He'll be back, Mama Jones said, though her voice wavered. He always comes back. Time seemed to stretch on forever until finally Jim returned, looking more exhausted than ever. He dropped the folder on the coffee table, the contents spilling out for all to see. Chrissy stared at the photos, her face draining of color. They followed us all this time. Jim nodded grimly. They want to ruin us, Chrissy, and they're not going to stop. Mama Jones, ever the protector, began gathering the photos and stuffing them back into the folder. Then we fight back. We get ahead of this. You two need to tell your story before someone else twists it. But even as she spoke, Jim knew it wouldn't be that simple. The photos, the messages, the threats, they were just the beginning. What he didn't realize was that the fallout from their secret pact would reach further than he ever imagined. The next morning, as news spread even further, fans started choosing sides. Some defended Jim and Chrissy, saying their loyalty was admirable proof that real love could survive anything. Others were less forgiving, calling them liars, manipulators, and frauds. Hashtags trended for hours. Think pieces popped up on Celebrity, blogs, and everywhere they turned, someone had an opinion. In the midst of the chaos, a new message arrived this time, not to Jim or Chrissy, but to Mama Jones herself. The sender claimed to have video footage from the night of the Pact footage. That could destroy everything they built. The message was simple. Tell the truth or the world will see for themselves. As the family gathered in the living room, the gravity of the situation set in. Mama Jones looked at her son and soon-to-be daughter-in-law, her expression fierce, yet loving. It's time to decide. Do we hide or do we fight? Jim looked at Chrissy, then at his mother, feeling the weight of their future on his shoulders. Whatever happens, he said quietly, we do it together. All of us. The family huddled close, not knowing what the next day would bring, but determined to face it as one. But even as they found strength in unity, a storm was brewing, just outside their door, one that threatened to reveal more than just the pact itself. As the cameras of the world focused in, as fans waited breathlessly for the next move, Jim and Chrissy realized that the real drama was only just beginning. The day after Mama Jones received the anonymous message, the family awoke to a fresh wave of chaos. Overnight, a mysterious account had posted a blurry 15-second video clip on social media. Though grainy, it was clearly Jim and Chrissy at the back of a restaurant, voices low and expressions tense. Fans were quick to speculate, slowing down the footage, analyzing every gesture. Theories flew. Was this the moment the secret pact was made? What were they hiding from the world? Chrissy, who usually prided herself on staying calm under pressure, now found her hands shaking as she scrolled through her feed. The comments were relentless. Some claimed they saw her slip Jim a note. Others insisted they could read the words, "Never tell." The internet had turned into a courtroom, and every user was the judge, jury, and executioner. Jim was no better. He'd spent most of the night staring at the ceiling, replaying the confrontation with the hooded figure, the threats. And now this video, he could feel his resolve cracking. Every time his phone buzzed, he jumped. It was only a matter of time before more footage surfaced, or someone from their inner circle decided to sell their own story to the blogs. Mama Jones refused to be shaken. She brewed a pot of strong coffee, sat both Jim and Chrissy down, and fixed them with her most commanding glare. You two need to take control of this narrative. If you don't, someone else will. The world loves a scandal, but what they love, even more, is a redemption story. Chrissy looked at Jim, searching for some sign of agreement. Should we just tell them? She whispered. Lay it all out. Let the world judge us on our own terms. Jim hesitated. The idea of airing their dirtiest laundry for millions to see made his stomach twist. But he could see that the alternative, constant fear, endless threats, a shattered reputation, was even worse. Maybe Mama's right, he said quietly. We tell our side not just about the pact, but everything. Why we made it, what we were scared of, what we wanted to protect. Just then, Chrissy's phone pinged again. This time, the message wasn't a threat or another clue, but a plea for help. It was from Tiffany, one of Chrissy's oldest friends. I'm worried about you, the message read. I know things are crazy, but I got a bad feeling. Call me when you can. Chrissy's heart softened. She realized she'd been so consumed by fear and scandal, she hadn't even reached out to her real friends. With trembling hands, she dialed Tiffany's number. Tiffany answered after just one ring. Girl, you sound like you haven't slept in days. What's going on over there? Chrissy tried to laugh, but the sound came out hollow. You've seen the news? Everybody has, Tiffany replied gently. But listen, I don't care about the headlines. I care about you. Whatever this pact is, whatever y'all did are, you safe. The words hit Chrissy hard. For the first time since the story broke, she felt herself relax just a little. I think so. It's just a lot. And now, people are threatening us, saying they have videos, pictures, all kinds of receipts. Tiffany was quiet for a moment, then said, Don't let them win. People love to tear you down when you're shining too bright. But you're stronger than all of this, Chrissy. You and Jim both. Chrissy wiped her eyes, trying not to let the tears fall. Thank you. I needed to hear that. Meanwhile, Jim was deep in conversation with his longtime friend and business partner, Lamar. The two sat at the kitchen table, voices low. Double quotes, bro? You really gonna go on camera and spill all that? Lamar asked, eyebrows raised. What choice do I have? Jim shot back. They already got us cornered. I'm not letting somebody else destroy everything me and Chrissy built. Lamar nodded, but concern lingered in his eyes. Remember once, it's out there. You can't take it back. People gone talk, no matter what. Jim exhaled heavily, feeling the weight of the decision. I know, but I can't let Chrissy go through this alone. We made that promise to each other. As the family prepared for what was sure to be one of the most watched interviews in reality TV history, their inner circle buzzed with nervous energy. Chrissy rehearsed what she would say, practicing in front of the bathroom mirror while Mama Jones offered encouragement and a steady supply of tissues. Jim paced, occasionally barking orders at their team, trying to keep his cool as phone calls from producers and publicists poured. Word soon got out that Jim and Chrissy were planning a tell-all. The blogs lit up with anticipation. Would they admit to cheating? Reveal secret children? Fans speculated wildly, each theory more outrageous than the last. By the time the camera crew arrived, hundreds of fans had gathered outside their building, hoping for a glimpse or even a soundbite would confirm or deny the wildest rumors. In the chaos, another bombshell dropped. A major celebrity gossip host, known for pulling no punches, posted on her own account, got an exclusive tip. There's more to this pact than anyone knows. Trust me, even Jim and Chrissy's closest friends will be stunned. The tension in the apartment was thick enough to cut. Chrissy looked at Jim. What if this just makes everything worse? She whispered. Jim reached for her hand. Or maybe it finally sets us free. The cameras rolled and the interview began. Chrissy started shakily, voice trembling as she described how fame had forced them to create a world within a world. A bubble where only she and Jim could be honest, sometimes brutally so. The pact wasn't about hurting anyone, she explained, her eyes shining with unshed tears. It was about surviving together. Jim's tone was more defensive. We knew people would try to pull us apart, so we made a promise we'd always put each other first, no matter what. That meant sometimes, we lied to protect each other. Sometimes we hid things, but everything we did was for us. The interviewer pressed them. But what about the rumors of cheating, the money gone missing, the fights that never made it to TV? Chrissy took a shaky breath. There's some truth in every rumor, but there's also a lot of lies. People want to believe the worst. We made mistakes, big ones. But the pact was never about covering up a crime. It was about loyalty. And now that loyalty is being tested. Mama Jones, sitting just out of frame, wiped her eyes. I don't care what anybody says. Family is family. And these two, they been through hell and back. Ain't nobody perfect. As the interview ended, the mood shifted. Some fans were touched, flooding social media with messages of support. Others weren't convinced. The same anonymous account that started the firestorm now posted again. Nice try, but there's still more to come. You can't hide forever. The family gathered together in the living room, exhausted but united. Chrissy looked at Jim and whispered, no matter what happens next, we stand together. But as night fell once more, a new message arrived, hinting that an even darker secret from the past was about to surface, one that could shatter not just their public image, but their very relationship. And as the world watched, holding its breath, Jim and Chrissy realized their greatest test was yet to come. As morning crept over the city, Jim and Chrissy found themselves unable to sleep. Their tell-all interview had aired late into the night, and by sunrise, it was already the talk of every breakfast table, radio show, and group chat. Hashtags exploded across social medias, some defending them, some dragging them, but nearly everyone was watching. Even people who had never followed their journey before were now invested, swept up in the relentless drama and the lingering question, what was the real story behind the secret pact? Chrissy scrolled through her messages, her thumbs trembling, as she read dozens of notes from friends and strangers alike. Some shared their own stories of loyalty and betrayal, thanking her for being honest about the struggles that come with loving in the public eye. Others were vicious, accusing her of manipulation and deceit. But the messages that stung most were from people she thought she could trust, friends who now kept their distance. Uncertain where the truth ended and the lies began, Jim tried to shut out the noise, but everywhere he turned, there was another reminder of their unraveling privacy. As he walked into a local deli for coffee, he caught people staring, whispering to each other, some even snapping photos. Back at home, the phones wouldn't stop ringing, producers from rival networks, lawyers, former friends hoping for an exclusive, and of course, the relentless blogs. Each one desperate for a new angle. Mama Jones did her best to keep the peace, cooking breakfast and trying to fill the apartment with the warm smells and familiar routines of family life. But even she was on edge. Y'all better hold it together, she said, sliding a plate of eggs in front of Jim. The world loves to see you rise, but they love to see you fall even more. You gotta show them you're stronger than all this mess. The family huddled together, hoping the worst was behind them, but fate had other plans. Just before noon, another message from the anonymous source landed in Jim's inbox. This time, it included a short audio clip, voices muffled, but unmistakably his and Chrissy's from the night of the pact. Their conversation was tense, emotional, and most damning of all, it included a line from Chrissy that would send fans and critics alike into a frenzy. If we're exposed, we lose everything. Jim's blood ran cold. He played the clip for Chrissy and Mama Jones, the room falling silent as the weight of those words sank in. They're trying to twist everything, Chrissy said, her voice cracking. It was just fear talking. Everyone's afraid sometimes. Jim nodded, but Mama Jones wasn't so sure. Fear or not, baby, people gone hear what they want. You have to get ahead of it again. Chrissy collapsed onto the couch, her face in her hands. How many times can we tell our story before no one believes us anymore? As if on cue, the doorbell rang. Jim checked the security camera. It was Lamar, his old friend and business partner. Looking even more stressed than before, Lamar paced into the apartment, running a hand over his face. Look, man, I've been getting calls all morning. Sponsors, clients, everybody wants to know what's real and what's just drama for the cameras. You've got to make a move before someone else does. Jim shook his head, exasperated. What do they want from us? Kay? We went on national TV, told the truth, shared our pain. It still ain't enough. Kay want a scapegoat, Lamar said quietly. Kay wants someone to blame for the mess. Mama Jones stood tall. Well, they ain't gonna get it. Family sticks together. But y'all better be ready. This is only going to get messier before it gets better. Outside, a crowd began to gather near the building. News vans setting. Up on the sidewalk, fans waving homemade signs, some supportive, some not so much. The air buzzed with tension as if the city itself was holding its breath. Inside, Chrissy's phone buzzed again. This time, it was Tiffany, her friend, calling, in a panic. Girl, you need to see what they're saying online. There's a rumor that Jim's got another secret, something from way before you two even met. People are digging through his past, trying to find anything that'll keep this drama alive. Chrissy felt the room spin. Can't take much. More Tiff. Every day, it's something new. You just gotta ride it out, Tiffany soothed. People have short memories. But you have to stay strong together. Don't let them turn you against each other. The words hung in the air as Chrissy hung up. She turned to Jim, her eyes shining with fresh fear. What if they find something? What if there's something even we don't know about? Jim reached out, pulling her close. We've been through worse, babe. Let them dig. We know our truth. We know our truth. But even as he said it, Jim couldn't shake the growing sense of dread. What if there really was something in his past, a forgotten mistake? A buried feud that could add gasoline to the fire? Mama Jones tried to break the tension. Y'all, just remember, you're not alone in this. We've got family, we've got real friends, and we got each other. The day dragged on, every hour bringing a new wave of speculation, accusations, and revelations. The internet was relentless, dissecting their every move. When Chrissy stepped outside for air, she was met with flashing cameras and shouted questions. Is the pact real? Are you leaving, Jim? What are you hiding? She pushed through, head held high, refusing to give the press the satisfaction of a breakdown. As evening fell, a new thread emerged, a leaked email chain, supposedly between Jim and a former business associate, hinting at financial mismanagement and secret deals. The story spread like wildfire, fueling conspiracy theories and giving critics new ammunition. Back at the apartment, Jim and Chrissy sat at the dining table, surrounded by piles of legal documents and a half-eaten dinner gone cold. How much more can we take? Chrissy whispered, tears threatening to spill. Jim squeezed her hand. They want to break us, but they can't if we don't let them. The doorbell rang again. This time, it was not a friend or family member, but their lawyer, Ms. Ramirez, looking stern and composed. She wasted no time. We need to talk damage control, she said, spreading out a stack of papers. The more you fight, the more they dig. But if you stay silent, they'll fill in the blanks themselves. It's the only way out is through. The family listened intently as Ms. Ramirez outlined their options. A second, more detailed public statement. Legal threats to the blogs, and if it came to a TATA lawsuit. But whatever you do, you have to do it together. No more secrets between you. The world's already picked you apart. Don't give them any more ammunition. After she left, the family sat in heavy silence. For the first time, Jim's bravado faltered. What if we're not enough? He asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Chrissy reached for his hand, her voice steady despite her fear. We're enough for each other. That's all that matters. But as they sat together, a new message flashed on Chrissy's phone. It was a video one she'd never seen before, sent from the same anonymous account. She pressed play, her breath catching as the grainy footage showed Jim, years earlier, arguing with someone in a crowded club. The audio was garbled, but the tension was unmistakable. Chrissy looked up at Jim, questions in her eyes. Jim's face paled as he realized the truth. This was a moment he'd buried deep, one he never expected to see again. The past wasn't finished with them yet, as the family braced themselves for another round of chaos. They knew one thing for sure: the secret pact was only the beginning. And the real test was still to come. The apartment was silent as Chrissy held her phone in trembling hands. The video still playing in her lap. Jim sat across from her, eyes wide, face ashen. For a moment, neither spoke. The tension in the room was suffocating, every second stretching out, thick with old pain and new fear. Finally, Chrissy looked up. "Jim, who is that? When was this?" Her voice was soft, but her eyes were fierce, searching his face for the truth. Jim swallowed hard. "That was a long time ago, before you and me. I got into some stuff I shouldn't have. Fights. Deals gone bad. Nothing I'm proud of." He shook his head, the old shame rising up, mixing with panic. "I thought all that was behind me. I never wanted it to come back and hurt us." Chrissy's eyes glistened, her anger fighting with empathy. "But now it's here. And whoever is behind all this, they know exactly how to use it against us." In the corner, Mama Jones watched them with worried eyes. "Baby, we all gotta past, but what matters is how you deal with it now. Don't let these people drive you apart." Jem stared at his hands, struggling for words. "It's just, every time we try to get ahead of it, something else comes out. I'm tired, Ma. I'm tired of fighting ghosts." Mama Jones reached over, placing a steadying hand on his shoulder. "Then stop fighting alone. Lean on your family. Lean on Chrissy. Y'all been through hell and back together. Don't let this be the thing that breaks you." Chrissy's phone buzzed again. This time the message was different. No threats, no new secrets, just a simple sentence. "You can end this. Confess and it all goes away." The words hung in the air, heavy with implication. Was it a real offer or just another game? Jim and Chrissy exchanged a look, both understanding what was at stake. If they went public again this time with everything, maybe the story would finally die. But what would be left of them after the truth was out? Before they could decide, the phone rang. It was their lawyer, Ms. Ramirez, her voice sharp and urgent. "There's been a new development," she said. "The blogs have the video. They're going live with it in less than an hour." Chrissy felt the blood drain from her face. "What do we do?" "You go live first, Ms. Ramirez replied. "Right now, tell your story in your words. Don't wait for them to twist it." Jim nodded, adrenaline pushing away the exhaustion. "Let's do it." The next hour passed in a blur. Their team scrambled to set up a live stream. Mama Jones called every friend and ally, telling them to tune in and support the family. Outside, a crowd grew even bigger, chanting, speculating, recording every move. When the camera went live, Chrissy spoke first. Well, she was raw, unfiltered, letting her pain and hope bleed through every word. "We've tried to be honest, tried to protect our love and our family. Yes, we made a pact to always stand together, no matter what. Yes, Jim has a past, and so do I. We're not perfect, but our mistakes are ours to own, not the world's to judge." Jim took over, his voice steadier than he felt. "People keep saying there's more. Fine, here it is. I did things I'm not proud of. I fought, I hustled, I made enemies. But I changed for Chrissy. We changed for each other. And that's what matters." He looked straight into the camera. "Whoever is trying to ruin us, I hope you're watching, Because we're not going anywhere. The comments poured in, some supportive, others cruel, but many more simply stunned. Fans who had doubted their relationship now saw a couple refusing to be torn apart by anyone, not even their own mistakes. As the live stream ended, Jim and Chrissy collapsed onto the couch, relief and exhaustion washing over them. Mama Jones wrapped them in a fierce hug. "I'm proud of you. Both of you." Their lawyer called again, her tone softer. "You did good. The story is yours now. Let them talk, they'll get tired eventually." But even as the family breathed easier, outside forces were still at work. Within hours, another anonymous post appeared. This time, a veiled threat. "One more secret left. Let's see how long you can keep it." Chrissy's heart dropped, but she looked at Jim and saw something new in his eyes, not fear, but determination. "We're done running," she whispered. "Whatever else they have, we'll face it together." Jim squeezed her hand. The connection between them stronger than ever. No more secrets. Not from each other, not from the world. As the night wore on, the family sat together, watching the city lights flicker outside. The worst of the storm seemed to have passed, but the scars would take time to heal. And somewhere in the city, their unknown enemy watched, frustrated. Realizing that the one thing they couldn't destroy was the bond Jim and Chrissy shared. In the days that followed, the media's attention slowly shifted to the next big scandal. The crowds outside their building thinned. Friends who had disappeared started to call again. Mama Jones went back to her morning coffee and neighborhood gossip. But for Jim and Chrissy, everything had changed. They knew now that no pact, no secret, no threat could break what they'd built so long as they faced the world side by side, still. Late at night, Chrissy sometimes woke to the memory of that first message, the cold fear that gripped her as she realized how fragile happiness could be. But then Jim would pull her close, whispering, "We survived, baby. We survived." And outside, somewhere in the city, someone new was already plotting the next twist. It's the next drama, the next chapter in a saga that, for better or worse, would never truly end. Because for families like theirs matter for TV, built on secrets and survival, the show always goes on, always goes on. As the sun rose on a quieter, more peaceful morning, Jim and Chrissy found themselves stronger for all they had endured. Whatever the world had thrown at them, they had faced it together, and that, they realized, was the real pact, the only one that mattered. And so, after weeks of sleepless nights, relentless headlines, and one twist after another, Jim and Chrissy found a fragile peace. Their secrets had been dragged into the harshest spotlight, their loyalty tested by an unseen enemy and the world's endless judgment. But through every accusation, every tearful confrontation, every public betrayal, they had rediscovered the one thing that mattered most: each other. Fans were left stunned by the depth of their connection, the raw honesty of their confessions, and the way they stood unbreakable against a storm that would have shattered any ordinary couple. Yet, not every question has been answered. The mysterious sender of those messages never revealed their face. Rumors still swirl about who was really pulling the strings behind the scenes. And diehard fans continue to hunt for clues about that last one more secret the anonymous enemy teased, before vanishing into the shadows. Is there still something left unsaid? Another twist waiting to explode onto the timeline? Or did Jim and Chrissy truly put an end to the chaos by standing together, refusing to hide from their past any longer? Only time will tell. For now, Jim and Chrissy are focused on healing, mending their relationship, reconnecting with friends, and rebuilding trust within their family. But if the past few weeks have shown us anything, it's that nothing in their world stays quiet for long. As fans, we can only wonder what's coming next and whether the real story behind their secret pact will ever truly be laid to rest. If you've been hooked by this wild ride, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell so you never miss an update on your favorite reality legends. What do you think really happened behind closed doors? Do you believe there is still one last secret out there? Drop your theories in the comments. We're dying to hear what you think. And stay tuned, because in this world, the drama is never really over.